Good evening. In this tutorial, I will teach you on how you can be able to solve question 16 for the examination of 2021 by Kcse. This question tested on programming languages. A student at that particular time was to identify the programming languages and also to list the advantages of any given. Was to identify the generation of the programming language and also to list the importances or the advantages of each of the programming language generation listed. It also tested on writing of pseudocodes, which you're going to see. Yeah, so keep following, and in case of any question, please let me know through the chat. So I'll go straight ahead with the question. Let me read the question. The following is a segment. The following are segments of programming languages A and B. You can see A has been written in zeros and ones, and then B, it has been written in words there, like select name, class from students, details where houses are the boys. So the first part of the question was asking the student to identify the generation of the programming languages used in each of the programming language labeled A and B. So the expected responses in this question were, so for A, just to identify, so this is a first generation. This is a first generation language. And then for B, this is a fourth generation. So for more information, you can refer to the book, but I'll also consider coming up with the tutorials that can also help in advancing your skills, or maybe like boosting understanding on that topic. So what are the advantages of A? So let's talk about the advantages. Since it's already in binary logic, it can be easily understood by the computer. Yeah, you don't need to keep on translating it every time. The next thing that you have to say about it, it runs very fast because we don't have double operation like reading, interpretation, and running. No, this one just runs straight away without having any problems that might occur. And then what else? Let's talk about the advantages of B. So for B, it's in human readable. It's easy to debug. Please, debugging simply means like the process of eliminating errors in a program code. So because you can easily understand it, now you can see, you can read the statements. It's very easy for you to correct the errors that might occur. And then it is easy to learn and understand. Maybe in the future, if you may want someone else to work on your program, you can be able to read the sentiments and understand them directly without having any problem. So the second part of the question, you are given a story there. An organization intends to increase the salaries of employees using the following rates. So the rates are given in the table. So for the current salary that's more than or equal to 70,000, we're having 5% increase. For any salary that's more than 50,000 and less than 70,000, we're having 8% increment. For any salary that's more than or equal to 50,000, we have 10% increment. So write a pseudocode that reads the total population of the employees in an organization and performs the following for each employee. So underline this, for each employee. So it needs to read the current salary of the employee, compute the increment, and display the current salary and the salary increment and the new salary. So you've been given a hint here. The current salary times percentage increase is now the increments. I hope you know those things in math. But if you don't know, don't worry. This is the right platform to teach you all those things. Good. So let's go straight to the point. When you're writing a pseudocode, start with a keyword like start, which signals the beginning of your code. Then you can have print. This is a keyword that causes the given words to be displayed on the screen. So you can say enter. So you can just enter the number of employees, so like that. So the message will pop up in the screen. Once the user enters, we need to grab it and store it in a variable called number of employees. So you can just say number of employees. So it's option. You can name it in whichever the way that you want. For me, I prefer to name it like this, but you can take your option. So the next thing that we need is to allow the user to enter the current salary. Enter the current salary, maybe of the employee. I don't want to use so much words. So you can just input, let me just say current salary. So you can see here, I'm not putting quotation mark because this is a variable that is going to store what the user will enter after being asked to enter the current salary. Now, the next thing I need to initialize, or you can initialize it at first there. Even if you initialize it, there's no problem. Still it to be understood. So for this case, let me just, I will use a certain loop, so there's no need of initializing it at this time. Okay, so let's now start the operation. So you can say for, let's say, number of employees. So maybe for count equals to 1, which means you are reading from the first employee, to number. Okay, let me just use it the way I've used it there. Number of employees. You can see I'm using the for loop just to traverse, to move through it one by one. So for count equals to 1 to number of employees, so this is the maximum. So you can just start to test if, let's say the current salary it's more than or equal to 70,000. We can have then increment equals to current salary multiplied by 0.05, which is equivalent to 5%. Else, so that is the alternative part, you can just have to say if current salary is greater than 50,000 and current salary is strictly less than 70,000, you can just say increment equals to current salary multiply by 0.08, which is 8%. Then you can have else if we are having current salary, if current salary is less than or equal to 50,000, you can just say then you can just say increment equals to, we can have current salary multiply by 0.1. And then after this, what do? We can now end the ifs. So the first if, we end it. We can end the second if. Then we can end the third if. So we are ending all of them. Then you compute new salary. Equals to current salary plus increment. I've been calculating increment at every stage. Then after having that, we need now to display the information. So print, what are we going to display? So first of all, we're going to display what was entered here, the one that is stored in these variables. So that's current salary. The next thing that you're going also to display is the increment, these ones that we've been storing in these three variables. So we have increment, and lastly, we are going to display this one, which is new salary, the one that we've stored in this variable. Then after that, we don't have anything else to give, so we can proceed toward the stoppage. So in the next tutorial, I will show you on how we can be able to come up with a flowchart for this design. Otherwise, let me thank you. I'm thanking you for taking your time to go through this tutorial. And I believe through my effort and your effort, we are going to ensure that either you learn or your child learn, or even your students learn. Thank you. Let me wish you good night in advance.